Hello gorgeous, I'm Gia, an etiquette consultant based here in Los Angeles. Here is why it's important to have good penmanship. So stay till the very end. This is really overlooked and something you can use easily to exceptionally stand out. It's the little things, it's the details that make the gentleman or lady. This is more towards gentlemen because I'm speaking purely empirically. Men have a tendency to have the least legible writing, where women take a bit of pride and a stylistic approach toward penmanship. So I'm going to go over why we need it, how to do it well, and some writing tips. First off, why do we need it? Like everything else in etiquette, writing well is about consideration for others, and it's not all about us. And I don't only mean in today's day and age. There was a physicist that said the flutter of a butterfly's wings creates tidal waves across the globe. I have a guest book that's over 100 years old, and I think it might be closer to 200 at this point, but it's a guest book with writing from all family members and ancestors that lived at the time, and most of the writing is in really old German with cursive letters and characters that do not exist anymore in Germany today. So it's beautiful, shares history, and tells how people lived. Think of your great-great-great-great-great grandkids. You want them to respect you. It was also really special to write because printing was so expensive. Remember, paper used to be expensive, and it meant that you were educated. There's a number of people I personally know whose writing I cannot decipher. I know 30-year-olds, 30-year-olds who don't know cursive except for how to sign their name. And years ago, I broke up with a guy, and it was one of the reasons because of his horrible handwriting. We were signing a guest book at a party, and he jumped in line in front of me to sign it. Like, he was like eager to sign it, and then I looked under his name to sign my signature. He wrote his name in manuscript letters, which is okay, but it's a guest book. It looked like a chicken walked onto the book and scratched the paper. So I was really turned off for many reasons in that story, for all the nuances that you hear. And this is the one time I will say something negative on my channel with a harsh opinion because I care so much. It is a disgrace to have bad penmanship. To me, writing shows insolence, writing that is bad. So uncivilized animals have bad handwriting. There, I did it, that's it. You'll never hear me say anything negative on this channel again. Things to remember to write well. Number one is to write clearly. I want you to start writing. Get a journal, write every single day. Assess your writing and judge yourself astutely to what you would want to do better, what you like about your writing, and how you'd like to write. Find your style and personality. Go on the internet and look at writing styles, look at fonts, look at documents, old documents, and it's been studied that when taking notes, writing is better than typing because you retain the information better. And the reason being, when you write, your brain has to understand what it is you're writing, every curvature, every glyph. Typing when taking notes is a reflex. You're just pressing buttons. Number two is to write intentionally. So have you ever seen someone sketch? They have a pencil. I'm holding a pen, but they have a pencil. Use your imagination. And they would start sketching like this. You're supposed to sketch or draw fluidly. When you write anything, when you're writing your name, write intentionally, write strong, write purposely. Take up space. So what does this mean? Literally take up space. Don't write big, don't write exaggerated, but take up the space you have that's appropriate. What we say in art is use your canvas. I notice a lot of people, you have to get a microscope to see their bad writing. Don't take other people's energy by having bad penmanship or any type of penmanship that isn't legible. So there's a lot of nice penmanship that is hard to read or it looks really interesting and signature. It's really inconsiderate to write something that isn't legible. And if you studied architecture or art, you probably have decent, good, clear, legible penmanship because you literally study shapes. Next is to use ink. There's a couple reasons why I do not use pencils. If you look at old journals or artifacts, graphite has a tendency to fade. Also, I do not plan to make mistakes. You're an adult, you should never use a pencil unless you're measuring something. Next is to avoid scribbling things out. So don't black things out like this. What you do is just either move to a new line or cross it out simply with a line and keep it clean. It makes your writing look better. Next is to avoid pressing really hard. I know a lot of people who laid on thick and on a notebook where there will be deep indentations on the next few pages of where they wrote. So don't stab the paper, it didn't do anything to you. Next is to have good grammar. This is what separates us from the animals. Have dignity when you write, when you speak. I know so many people who cannot answer basic grammatical questions, like when I ask, what is the nominative in the sentence? What case are we using? How many cases are there? For example, in German there's 4, in Latin there's 6. If you can answer how many cases there are in English, leave it in the comments below. A lot of people will answer, I don't know. They're the same people who say, why do I need to study English? I speak it. No, you don't. It's like when people who are out of shape say they don't need to go to the gym, or when people who say we don't need etiquette or manners, they're the ones who usually need it the most. Roasting, I hear so much bad grammar that one time I was at a party listening to someone. I needed to be tied down to the chair with goggles and a helmet, and I was just thinking, make it stop. Next is a gentleman always carries a pen. A gentleman actually carries a few things all the time. I'll create a separate video for that, a lady and a gentleman. So subscribe and click the bell to see that video coming up. There's a fantastic book called Bluefish that's nonfiction about a gentleman entrepreneur. When I was reading the book, and he doesn't say he's a gentleman, but you can definitely tell that he's one. And this businessman author says to take care of your pen. Don't have a pen with bite marks that is scratched up and bent. If you don't take care of the little things, it makes your clients and all the people around you wonder how you take care of the larger things in life. No matter how cheap your pen is, take care of it, and it represents a lot about what's going on up here. Next is to know the different styles of pens. So there's thick, there's thin, and so if you see a thicker pen, like a gentleman's pen, or is this one in this case is a lady's pen because it's mine, the thicker it is, the more it is for simply signing documents and not necessarily sitting down for a very long time. The thinner it is, like this one, is meant for writing for a long time, because if you ever tried writing with a gentleman's pen or a lady's pen for a very long time, your hand will hurt and you'll have a new style of writing. If you have a really good pen, one good one with refills, I have refills, one that's your signature pen that everyone knows you for, that when people look at the pen, they know, oh, it's yours. And that has really good ink, that has a really good flow to the ink, that has that sleekness, it becomes less expensive to write in. If you have a cheap pen, you have to press down really hard, and it's expensive for a list of reasons. So one being, it takes more energy to write. You literally have to press harder. And two, when you need to write quickly, you need to sign a document on a whim, like at the doctor's office or the DMV, or taking someone's phone number down, you need a clipboard, or you need a wall, or you need someone's back. If you have a really good pen and the ink flows and it's not like a cheapy one where you have to press down really hard, you don't rip the paper and you don't damage the surface that you're writing on. So a really good pen that has sleek ink, you can write well with it on someone's back or against any surface without ruining whatever it is you're writing on. I personally like ballpoint. It's simple, effective. I'll have some pens linked down below so that you can get a sense of what your style is. And personally, I like to avoid fountain pens. I'm going to show you the difference between quality and pens. Brand names will get you. This fountain pen, I personally like to avoid fountain pens because they're really high maintenance. When you press down, it gets used to the way you write and the way you press down. So the curvature of the fountain pen will be used to you, and you're the only person who can use it. For example, my husband has a fountain pen, and I had to write something down on my to-do list really quickly. I was in a rush. My hair is crazy. It felt impossible to write with his pen because he uses different muscles, I guess, when he writes. And stylistically speaking, he writes very different. Like, you can see his writing right away and know it's his. You see mine, you know it's mine. This pen I got from Amazon, but it's Kate Spade. So this is a brand name pen. This is the most expensive casual pen that I have that's not like a signing document pen. And this is a very, I guess you can call this a writing pen, but the weight, so here I'll show you. So this comes with a leather case. This is the pen I have in my bag because it has a stylus at the end. I can use this at the bank and I can use this at the grocery store. It twists, and I don't like twists, but this has a case, so it's okay. So because twists can accidentally open in your purse and mark up everything. This is a cover pen. Difference in the weight, this is a little bit heavier. It's made of probably alloys, and this is probably stainless, I want to say, because it hasn't tarnished yet, and I've had this for a while. And so this one writes like a cheap pen, funny enough. This one costs the most out of this group of 3 pens. This does not write very well, and I opened it to check the cartridge, just a cheapy pen, and I don't have the refills for this. Make sure you find something that's appropriate for you, and I'll create another video on proper correspondence, writing letters in business, emails, formal invitations, social letters, cards, so forth. Also, I have stationery personally that I use with my name on it and address, and I have a wax seal, like literally a wax seal with my own stamps, and I'll create another video for that later. There are so many formats for different occasions. I'll also have stationery linked below in case you're interested, and remember to keep it simple. Subscribe and click the bell if you want to become a lady or gentleman, and start journaling.